This is the plaintiff, Kim Lashana Apollonio. She says she brought her phone into the defendant's shop for repairs, and when she picked it up, it still didn't work right. She brought it back to him, and when she went to pick it up for a second time, the defendant told her the phone was gone because she left it there for too long. Huh? The defendant probably sold her phone off for a hefty profit. What he did was wrong, and she's here suing him for the $1,250 she's most definitely owed. This is the defendant, Marcelo Oriana. He says he fixed the plaintiff's screen on her phone, and then she brought it back to fix one of the buttons. He fixed that too, called the plaintiff to tell her it was ready for pickup, and the plaintiff never came in. He waited for over 60 days, and his policy is clear. Merchandise left over 60 days is considered abandoned. When she found out, she went crazy and decided to sue him for all his money. Sorry, but the plaintiff has no one to blame but herself. He's accused of a cell phone disaster.
All parties, please use your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket, the plaintiff brought her phone to the defendant. It went missing. She thinks he sold it, but the defendant says he fixed her screen and button. She never came back, and it's abandoned. It's the case of I can't phone home.
Thank you, Douglas. Kim Lashana Apollonio.
Yes.
You are suing Marcelo Oriana's company, Marcelo Mobile Link, for $1,250 that you want him to pay you because they lost a Samsung what?
Note 5.
Okay. Tell me what happened.
In May of 2016, I had my son bring my phone. I actually brought it in first myself. And the phone was, I dropped it in the water, so it wasn't coming on. So I had my son bring it in when he offered $150 to fix it. So my son dropped the phone off to him, and he repaired the phone. So I picked the phone up. When I picked the phone up, it was almost like 6 weeks later. I picked the phone up. It was on. It was working. My pictures were there. It was fine. I was excited. But when I got home, I couldn't get back to the main screen. So I called him up, and I told him that it wasn't working. He told me that's not what he fixed, which is understandable. But he told me to bring it back in. I brought the phone back in. After a couple weeks, he said he was waiting on a part. And then every week, every 2 weeks, it seemed like he was putting us off because he kept saying he's waiting on a part, he's waiting on a part. So now I told my son, get something in writing from him because I don't believe him. I feel like because the Note 7s were called back. So everybody wanted the Note 5s at the time because the Note 7s caught fire.
What happened to the Note 7s?
They caught fire, so they were recalled.
So every time I got on a plane, which is a lot, every time I got on a plane, I would hear, if you have a Note 7, you must just killed their stock.
Yes.
If you have a Note 7, you need to hand it over because it could spontaneously combust. Some horrible. I was like, what? You know,
right.
Till I got used to it. That's if that's not bad press, I don't know what is. But anyway, so what happens? You feel like you're being put off, and when does the rubber hit the road here? What happens?
I went in myself. I took
And
off
when
work
did you
early.
go in?
I went in on 10/27. My son said it was September 30th. But he wouldn't give him a receipt saying anything because he was waiting on a part. So when I came in...
Do you sign something that talks about...
None of
Did you
that
sign
is on
anything?
his
Did your
paperwork.
son sign anything? Is there any paperwork the son signed?
No, there isn't. Not at that point because if I can speak, the
Yeah.
phone that she actually dropped off was not a Note 5. She actually dropped off a Samsung Note 3. That was one of our issues we actually had originally in locating her device because when she originally dropped off her phone, she is correct. The device did have water damage and we needed to repair it. So what happened is they dropped off the phone, they came back and asked, is my phone repaired? And we said at that point, well, it hasn't even been paid for. I think that
Do you have the original paperwork for the original?
No, ma'am.
How are you going to prove that it's a Note 3 or a Note 5?
It already passed to the point where we disposed the paperwork.
Why would you dispose of paperwork from a few months ago?
It wasn't a few months ago. This was 2016.
Yeah, don't you have to pay taxes in 2016?
Yes, ma'am.
Right, and you're supposed to keep your records for 7 years for the IRS. So there's no reason to get rid of paperwork you had. I think you didn't have paperwork because it's easier to run a business without worrying about paperwork and then just kind of whatever reporting to. But that's not okay when you're relying on a time constraint. In other words, the people in your position, because you're about to tell me she left the phone there more than 60 days, right?
Correct.
And that your policy is if you leave the phone there more than 60 days, we're not responsible.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Great. Now you're going to have to prove your defense. How are you going to do that without a stitch of paperwork?
So if she just didn't come back for a long, long time, say more than 2 months, can he just sell the phone or do whatever he wants with it?
I think he should have given her paperwork to prove that she was gone for 2 months.
I agree with you, but if he didn't, at a point, is he allowed to just say, hey, you snooze, you lose?
I think with enough time's passed, yeah.
How much?
Like 6 months?
That sounds reasonable, going inside the courtroom.
I try to locate when we made our purchase through our vendor. The problem is that they only keep a record of us for 12 months. Unfortunately, they
Why
weren't
don't you
able
keep your
to
own records? You wouldn't have this problem.
They weren't able to provide me a record of my
When
invoice.
you say your vendor, that's because you ordered a part?
Correct. So she did not have the Note 5. She actually had a Galaxy Note 3.
How do you know?
I did the repair personally.
Show me the proof of your purchase for your Note 5.
I don't have proof of the
How are we
purchase.
going to know whether it's a Note 3 or a Note 5?
I don't have
or a
proof
Note...
of the purchase. All I have is the receipt because when
Let me see the receipt.
When my son of the repair, when my son
Yeah, that's what I'm asking him for, and he says he doesn't have.
when
We
my
provide
son
the
went-
customer a
Hold
copy.
on. What?
We keep an original and the customer gets a copy.
Then where's your original?
We had to dispose of it because the phone was disposed of.
So what is this document that she has?
He
that
wouldn't
she
sign
No,
it.
I don't want to hear
Oh.
from you. I want to hear from him.
Okay.
That's your paperwork. What is it?
This is after several months. She just wanted me to write her name and the date that she had came in to inquire.
And you did that? That you wrote?
She would not leave without me doing that.
Okay. And then what does that document say to me?
That her and I had a conversation regarding it. She
Does
wanted
that
me.
document say that?
No, between her and I, that's all she just wanted me to write her something. I'm like, there's nothing I can write you. But she said, I just need you to write something saying that I was here that day.
All right, here's where we are, guys. If your defense, because you know you had a phone, there's no debate that they left the phone. Where is the phone?
The time passed so long, ma'am, that it was either recycled or
Oh,
used for
you don't
parts.
really know what happened with her phone.
Not exactly.
But you can't find it.
Correct.
All right, but listen to me. If your defense is, I didn't hear from her in 60 days, I'm going to need you to prove it. You're going to need to prove the date it came in, and I'm going to need to see that the date it came in is more than 60 days from 10/27 when we know she came in. Can you do that?
Unfortunately, I cannot.
Then you're paying for the phone. Now, according to you, it's a 3. According to her, it's a 5. Do you have proof of purchase of your phone so I can see what it is?
I don't have proof of purchase. The phone was old, obviously. It was a Note 5. A new Note had came out, but I
don't
wanted
wanna
to
hear you
keep.
just
I wanted
keep
to keep
talking.
my
My
phone.
question was,
I
did
don't
you-
have the receipt.
Okay. And did you have the foresight to back up your pictures when it was in your possession before returning it to him?
No,
Oh, you got to be kidding me.
no. That's why we're here, really. It's not
Why?
even-
Because if the phone's gone, the phone's gone.
Right.
I can't believe you didn't do that.
I didn't back.
You
I
should have
thought
been
I backed
so
it
happy
up.
to see those pictures again that you
Right.
just went and took everything off of it. It takes
Right.
2 seconds.
Right.
Yeah, that's not why we're here. Why we're here is the value of the phone. All right, so now, do you have any more paperwork you want me to see?
I have this. I went back in again myself on 11/18, and he said he found, because he called me and told me the phone was there. It was a piece of metal that I refused to accept. And I said, then you need to give me something documented again about the phone. He said, I can offer you $100. I said, just put it in writing, because I refused to take $100 for my phone. I paid over $500 for that phone originally. I know
Yeah,
it was
when did you pay
used,
the $500?
Like back in 2014.
Right,
So it was
and
a
you
used phone.
understand that what you're entitled to when you come to court is the value of the item at the time of a loss,
Okay.
okay? Which is a broken 5, if I believe you, 3 if I believe him. But you have to understand that it's not, you don't get 3 free years of using the phone, and then, you understand what I'm saying?
I understand
It's
what you're saying.
depreciated value, okay?
I know it's a depreciated value.
All right. So why would, if the depreciated value, if a non-broken one, well, I guess you paid for the repair, so we're going to look at it as if it's not a broken one. All right. So if the value of the used item that you say is a 5, we're going to go with that, is $196.47. How is your lawsuit $1,250?
Well,
You want the value of your old phone plus the cost of a new phone, which would put you in an awesome position.
Right.
Right. Because ching ching, let that cash register ring. That is not the purpose
I still had
of
to buy
court.
another phone.
I understand, but not if you get the value of your old phone, that's what you put towards your new phone. You don't get both. Then it's a bonanza. Woo! Thank God we get to go to court. And then what's $150 for the phone repair? No, because I'm taking that into account when I give you the full value of a repaired phone. So what you come to court for is the value of what you've lost. The value of what you've lost is a fixed 5, and that's $196.47. That's what you get because that's what he lost. You don't get $600 that you paid 3 years ago, plus $600 to buy a new one so that you have a free phone for 5 years, and the repair. You don't get that. $196.47 verdict for the plaintiff.
Well, the plaintiff does prevail in this case. She doesn't get everything she was seeking, and I guess you're glad of that because it's only $196 rather than $1,200.
Sure am.
But did you learn anything about keeping records here? I mean, you don't have any evidence of anything.
I sure did. I'm going to be backing up everything digital now, so we don't have to keep track of old paperwork that's left for several months.
Well, I think that's very smart of you. So you could make a copy of it and come in here with it.
Correct.
Okay. All right. That's you've learned a good, valuable lesson today. Okay.
Sure have.
Thank you very much. You must sign a few documents.
Thank you.
And the door is that way. Miss Apollonio.
Apollonio.
Yes. Okay. Good enough. All right. Do you understand? The judge took her time explaining to you.
I do understand, and I knew I wouldn't get $1,250. It's really a lesson for him because you can't do business. That's not the way you do business. And I'm a business owner, and I know that you have to keep records for 7 years in the state of California.
Well, congratulations. Thank you. Okay. Harvey, what do you think?
So, Doug, abandoned property laws vary not only from state to state, but in some cases city to city. Go online, check your city, check your state, and it'll give you your rights.